What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Achievement Hunting 101 podcast. I'm your host, Kenny, and thank you for joining us. This is level 10. Can you guys believe it? We've been doing this for 2.5 months, and we actually still have listeners. This is awesome. But we've got a great show for you guys tonight. But before we get to all that, some obscenities. L, you stupid mother... No, I'm just kidding. We're not actually going to do that. That'd be mean. But first up, we have L,
Whoa.
the big L. How you doing, buddy?
Wow. Level 10. Congratulations, everybody.
We did it. We're getting to the big time now.
We've made it to 10 episodes where I've been able to fly out to New York and kick L in the nuts.
The nards.
Make sure to stream that. But like,
I don't need them anymore. You could go for it.
and like you just heard, we also have Ryan, the mighty Mango. How's it going?
I'm doing all right.
And next, as always, we have Corey, the rocker dude, 5012.
Hello.
What does the 5012 stand for?
It's just a random number.
Okay.
Nothing important or nothing interesting.
Not the last four of his social at all.
No, not at all.
No,
Got
just
it.
a PIN number.
Got it.
And my garage code and the code to get in my computer, that stuff.
I believe it. And lastly, since you've probably heard her giggling, we have a special guest with us tonight. She comes to us because Elroy threw her out cold onto the streets. She was looking for a new home. X the hero denied her that home, so we, the panel, from our gracious hearts, decided to take her in and give her a place so her voice could be heard. We have with us Michelle, otherwise known as matriarch, something like that. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you, and thank you for giving me an excuse to escape the very sequential basement and come see the light of day for a little while.
We had to pull you away. Elroy was taking all the spotlight. All right. Well, tonight, as some of you know, but I think it's just Fug, tonight is our first official stream. If you're listening to this and you would like to join us live next week, you can follow us at the Achievement Hunting podcast or Achievement Hunting 101 podcast on Mixer. That is the right URL, right, Corey?
Mixer.com/AH101, AH_101_ podcast. That is us.
There you go. As you can tell, we're new at that. But make sure you can turn on the notifications so you can see us when we go live. And you can catch the raw, unedited version of all this. You can see Big L derail us. And you can hear all the bloopers that we edit out of the podcast. And also, if you're in chat with us, feel free to comment and join the conversation. But before we get started, we want to start out with our proclamation point.
Ooh. Where's the echo?
That's your job.
Proclamation! Point.
There it is. Hopefully that echo comes through. Ryan, would you like to read off the milestones?
Yes, I'll go through the milestones this week. Got a few of them here. So, Waka has earned 18,500 achievements and has hit an 1,800-day achievement streak and has completed 450 games.
He had a good week.
So,
that's pretty good.
That's a pretty good week. So, Fug has hit 66% completion ratio. So, congratulations. You've embraced completing games.
That matches his age.
Chin Doctor has played 1,250 games. Well, keep going there, Chin. You got a long way to go to catch me. David MC, was it McCeece, 1989. Is that like Marky Mark? Yeah, the double. Hit 200,000 gamer score. So congratulations, 200,000.
Kenny just scratched his head when you said Marky Mark.
Yeah, Marky Mark. Yeah, he has no idea. Mark Wahlberg.
I know who you mean.
X the Hero has hit a 650 gamer score and is now in the top 100 in the USA gamer score leaderboard. So congratulations.
Woo woo.
Yep.
Nice.
Kingsman has hit triple milestones all at once. 280,000 gamer score. Was at 560,000 TA and then 165 completed games. Chin has also completed 400 games. We should have put that in the other notes. But so Chin, not only has he started 1,200 games, but he's finished 1/4 of them.
It's not bad.
That's
at least
third-ish of them, right? 400
Is
of
that third?
1,200?
We're not a math podcast.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah,
a math
third-ish.
podcast. Okay.
We've gone
Whatever.
over this.
Yes, my
Third
bad.
a whole
quarter-ish,
bunch of them.
third-ish. In Australia, it's a quarter.
Oh, right. There's some kind of exchange rate issue. I forgot.
So Prue has won 16,000 achievements. Way to go, buddy.
Nice.
I think he's still alive in the G-Task
Sure
I
is.
believe so.
this week.
Yeah, he's
So
still plugging
good
along.
job, bud. I know he does listen. He actually listens to this every once in a while. Koosh has got 825 games played, but only 117 completions. Tisk tisk. But actually, Koosh, that's the style that I like. So you're doing just fine. And Chad and Jesse's 675 games played and 533 completions, which that's pretty damn
Wow.
good.
That's really good.
exceptional.
Jesse, you are crazy, girl.
Chad, you too.
So that is all for the. Go ahead, El. Let's get the proclamation point.
We did it already.
Well, fine, don't do it again. That is all the milestones for this week.
All right.
Proclamation point.
That was a good bit of them. Good milestones as well. All right, now let's do some community questions.
Good job, community.
We have the best. First question that we have, and believe this comes from Skeptical Mario. If a game's achievements are particularly front or back heavy, does that affect how you play? For instance,
Donk.
if there are a lot of story-related achievements as opposed to collectible ones, are you more likely to keep playing? Corey, what do you think?
It doesn't affect the way I play. I play what I want to play, crap and all. So the only way it affects how I play is if I'm going to use a walkthrough first go or not, because I really don't like playing campaigns for a second time, especially if there's no difference in the second playthrough. So,
Right. Yeah, I kind of echo that thought. I'll play what I play. I don't much care where the achievements
Somebody
come
say
from.
echo.
Oh boy. Well, El, since you want to talk, does it affect how you play the games?
Maybe.
That was weird.
I know. Actually, I like collectibles. I'm weird. Especially in Crackdown. Those are the best collectibles ever.
That's the first game that the collectibles are actually kind of fun in a long time. There's a lot of them, though.
Well, the collectibles in that game also affected gameplay. You got better as you collected them, so there was some reason behind it. It wasn't just to irritate you.
Right.
did having like 300 of them make it any worse? Do you wish there was less?
I was going to say, I remember finding all of them but one and having to consult a video guide, which sucked because
Yeah.
I think the last portion of the video, we finally found it. But I didn't use a video for all of them right away. It was actually really fun to find them on your own. And if you have a headset, it actually can hear them. So if you can hear it off to the left, to the right, or stuff like that, I thought was very clever.
You can make them louder, too, if you didn't know that. Did you guys know that?
No.
No,
If you do a race, like where they have one of those car things, and you get out of the car and don't finish the race, the orbs will actually be louder, so you can hear them better.
Interesting.
Do you hope Crackdown 3 mirrors that same collectible-ness?
I hope there's 1,000 of them and get an achievement for each individual one, to go back to last week's question.
It's 1,001 point orb achievements.
Yes, all of them.
I think they pretty
That would
much
be
confirmed that those at least the agility orbs and all those are back in one of the trailers. I think.
I think I recall that, too.
Yeah. So, if Crackdown 3 actually happens, I imagine it's going to be much like Crackdown 2 in that it's not going to reinvent the wheel. What worked for Crackdown worked, and the collectibles in their way did. As actually Fug is saying in stream here, it is fun until you look for the last one, but there's also that distinct feeling of having accomplished something once you grab that last one. So there's a pro and a con to having to do so much.
collectibles can be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, as achievement hunters, we become a little OCD about things. I remember, I think it was about 4 years ago, I was playing Darksiders, and I think I was following just the collectible guide, and I missed one somewhere. And you know what I did? I stopped playing. Really stupid. And it came up on this year's UHH, and I still had my save, and I enjoyed it. I was very mad at myself for putting it down, so that's the downside to OCD achievement collectible hunting.
Although you've kind of spoken a little bit, Michelle, but does it affect the way you play?
Like with everything, with achievements and gameplay styles, it sort of ebbs and flows. I find more lately, actually, that I don't like using guides as much. If a game is notably long and has a lot of collectibles, and especially collectibles that get locked out, I want to use a guide. But I actually find it's slower to use a guide because you're spending time going between the guide and possibly a video and maybe a second guide because that guide lists the collectibles better. And it's so much time tabbing through different websites that you just stop playing and enjoying the game. So, for example, in UHH a couple weeks ago, or for a couple weeks in a row, I had Costume Quest achievements. And the first one I got, I was playing along with the guide. And at some point it clicks, okay, there are collectibles, there are these things to do, but nothing's missable. You can do it all. So I'm just going to relax and enjoy the game. And it moved faster. It was definitely more enjoyable. And as to the first part of the question about whether achievements are front or back heavy affecting how you play, and then I guess that's why collectibles come up, because typically that makes the list very backloaded. I generally don't care, but I know that I'm not alone, because Elle is the same way, that I'm sort of a slave to the streak, like getting one achievement every day. And sometimes backloaded games take me a while to start because I kind of need to know I have another game easily accessible, like I can grab something in it, because I'm not going to get an achievement naturally if I play this game for an hour today, which is, again, unfortunate. So in that way, backloaded lists do affect how I play, but then they become really good for contests and things like that when you know you can kind of hold on to that big one to pop when you need it in something like the Great True Achievement Score Challenge.
Right. Also good for preloading, if you are one of those people that do that.
Mm.
I know no one here does that, though.
Nope.
No, definitely not.
Not here.
And for our second question, do you guys join people's parties uninvited? Elle?
You know the answer to this one.
That's why I went to you first.
Lock down your parties.
Hide your controllers. Lock down your parties.
I was trying
Big
to
L's
think of
coming
something
through.
for that.
Hide your wife.
Of course I join people's parties.
All the time.
There is the option to lock them, so if you don't lock them, you may as well just be inviting me to your party chat. That's the way I
just have one reaction to somebody joining in a party uninvited, and that would be...
How rude!
Unbelievable, that Jodie Sweetin.
Who's that? It's Stephanie Tanner, buddy.
Oh, sorry. She's all grown up now.
I enjoyed that you got that with laugh track and
Oh, yeah.
everything. I think maybe the show would be improved if we just added a laugh track every now and again.
Don't say that. Now Elle's going to be doing that.
It's just going to be a laugh track of layered mango laughs. It'd be phenomenal.
Well, I already
We can do
have
that.
a compilation of Elroy and Mango laughs.
Sweet.
That's pretty creepy.
Oh, no. You like it. You love it.
I do.
Mango, do you join in parties uninvited?
Only with people I like regularly talk to, like most of you all, at random. I mean, there's a lot of people on my friends list that are in parties, and I don't just jump in their parties and say, "Hey guys, how's it going?" Because that's annoying and dumb. So I will randomly join Elle and Michelle and you, and I mean, random people that I normally game with, but I won't go, "Hey, Smirnov's online. Oh, look at that, he's in a party. Let me hop in the party with him." I don't do that.
You probably won't talk anyway.
He won't talk. Oh.
No, actually,
beat you
he's
to it.
very talkative. He's actually very talkative in parties,
Huh.
believe it or not.
What about you, Corey? You join parties?
Well, since I think it's rude to do that, no.
How?
In fact, quite the opposite happens. I get random invites from Elf to join party, and then I don't respond, and I get another one, and another one.
Yep. I get that as well.
Then I answer it, and he's like, "What's that noise?" I'm like, "I'm washing dishes. This is what you wanted."
And Michelle?
I'm more along the lines of how Mango handles this. Generally, I don't jump into parties unless it's a party where there's sort of been an open invite to jump in. It's like when you guys are doing the stream, when you're playing whatever new games you're playing, I will try to jump in there. But otherwise, I like having when I'm not in a party, it's because I want to kind of sit and play by myself. So I'm not likely to just jump into a party.
Yeah. I usually don't join parties uninvited. I'm kind of antisocial, which is funny. L's L, but he's the most social out of all of us. Which is why he only plays co-op games.
I have so many enemies.
All right.
Bother everyone.
All right. So go into our discussion segment. Unfortunately, this is a kind of sad news, but everyone has probably heard it, but in case you haven't, Telltale Games is closing down. They announced literally like a few hours, maybe 2 hours after our last show, the news breaks. I guess, that's just how podcasts go. News breaks after you're done recording. But yeah, Telltale News is closing, or Telltale Games is closing. That kind of sucks. As achievement hunters, they're big name games. We play them all the time. You guys play them a lot?
Well, they were all achievement hunters, just dreams.
Yes.
I don't know about dreams, but they weren't.
Well, I mean, Minecraft idle mode is great.
I know, it's how many games come out where you can multi-play them on 3 different consoles, on your One, on your 360, and on your Win 10 device, and get achievements in all of them. So that was certainly unique to Telltale Games, but I imagine not part of their marketing strategy when they were putting all this together.
No, no, not at all. And I mean, you got to remember too, when the Walking Dead game came out, it really was something different. There wasn't a lot of games that were driven that way. The pseudo choose your own adventure, and of course, I mean, licensing games is not cheap. You got to pay those bills. So.
And that was in Walking Dead was in its
leads
prime too, so it was really like a big thing, a big deal. I remember pre-ordering the PC copy when it first came out. It was that big of a deal.
Well, and as Waka stated in his piece last week, they overextended on these licenses very badly. Now, we don't know the whole story yet. We've been able to cobble together quite a bit, but I'm sure we're going to find out more in the future about exactly where these numbers are. But Minecraft was profitable, and The Walking Dead was profitable, and I don't even know if that means season 2. That may only be season 1. And then after that, everything else it didn't make returns for them. And it was just a matter of getting too big too fast with not making the greatest decisions with this licensing money.
Very ambitious in their goals. Like,
yes.
We want to do this and want to do this and want to do this. And I mean, I can only imagine what the licensing fees for a Game of Thrones game would have been. You would have had to sell a lot of that game to make up for their licensing fee on that.
Right.
Especially when you're constantly, putting your games on sale. You're not getting a full bang for your buck there. And as most people, as most gamers anyway, we wait for sales, especially us as achievement hunters. We go for the cheap games.
And their episode 1s usually ended up free fairly quickly.
That too. Yeah.
Right.
Well, you almost question. You almost kind of question if the reason why they were on free is because. Well, I mean, The Walking Dead, as they dropped in prices because they were getting older, so get more people hooked on them. But the other ones where it would release the episode 1 for free, maybe they're just trying to get people hooked on it, so then you have to pay for the other episodes just to try to make some profit on the game. I mean, that's the way I see it.
I'm sure that was the thinking.
Kind of as a loss leader.
Well, I mean, and I was thinking about this just in the context of like, we're all kind of responsible, right? Because when I look at Telltale Games, and I love the first Walking Dead, I haven't paid full price for any Telltale game, and I don't own the majority of them. I got the first Walking Dead at some point. Like it got to the point where Microsoft does their big November sale, and Telltale games are always very steeply discounted. I'm just going to wait. And I mean,
without a doubt.
I know you said you pre-ordered, right, one of the games, Corey, but did anyone else pay full price at any point for a Telltale game that wasn't possibly the first Walking Dead?
On the PC I did.
Okay.
For the PC versions of the games. I never bought them on sale.
I bought the first Batman. I forget the subtitle to it. I bought that on sale. I mean, I think I got all 5 seasons for $10, $12.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the second season of Batman, I think the last time it went on sale for like $15, $16, something like that. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to play that, but decided not to buy it because I know I could wait a little bit and get it for $10, $12, save a couple of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
The first Batman was just Batman the Telltale series.
Oh, okay.
The second one had a subtitle.
Enemy
Yep, the Enemy
or
Within.
something. Having any game studio close sucks, no matter what it is. But being Telltale, it's a big name. They've got a lot of good licenses too. Guardians of the Galaxy we missed. That's a big name.
Stranger Things is not going to happen.
I'm really sad on that one. I'm not the biggest Telltale fan, but I love Stranger Things. So that one I was really looking forward to. We'll probably never get that.
Mm-hmm. And it's all devolved into sort of a mess now, right? Because obviously there are going to be questions of where these licenses land, if they land anywhere, because it's possible nobody will pick this up. Where's their engine going to go? Is that going to get sold off in some capacity?
Well, and they had a new engine they were working on too, is my understanding.
Right. And then, what's the future of this final Walking Dead game that they were mid-production on? And the fact that other companies have stepped up to help us finish, and we're going to consider our options, yet they laid off all these people they had just hired a week earlier. There were no options for them. So
who are now suing the company.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Right. They you have to give some notice, and they violated, the employees are claiming that they violated labor laws in the state that they were all centered in. So the whole thing's just a mess. And at some point, I hope someone who's really good at journalism actually really gets in there and writes an article and kind of makes sense of all of this for us. Because we're talking, 4 years ago, 5 years ago? How long ago did the first Telltale Walking Dead come out? 2012. So we're talking 6 years ago.
I mean, they were around before that, but yeah, that's when they...
Yes, yeah.
That's when they hit it big time.
That's when they really hit it.
Right. And this wasn't just a game that was... Okay, it's, like a hit, like we know it's big, pre-established sort of thing. This was revolutionizing kind of the discussion about video games. Does a video game have to be something where you have reflexes and the ability to consider where you're jumping and how you're moving, where it was really an interactive storybook, and how that brought people into the fold and emboldened some developers who make walking sims and things like that, where like, yeah, our games are legit too, even if they're not what you traditionally consider a video game to be. And now that's it. It's gone.
Yep.
It's done.
Yeah. Elle, you've been quiet. Do you like Telltale games?
I know. I'm looking up all the crazy Telltale games right now.
Oh.
I have a question while Elle's looking that up, because hopefully he'll have some interesting thing to say once he figures out what he's looking up. If Telltale had continued down the path of developing games like Back to the Future, would they have, you think, eventually reached, like, I don't know that this would have been the outcome for that, because Back to the Future was it was okay, and it did what it needed to do, but it wasn't this, like, bright shining star where they suddenly kind of exploded and says, oh, we want to reach out to all these things. And in some ways, it's like that extreme success of Walking Dead eventually led to the downfall of the company.
Yeah, I mean, Back to the Future was more of a point, it was more point and clicky than Walking Dead, where it was kind of a story driven, where you have some quick time events and maybe click on something every once in a while.
That's an interesting thought. Walking Dead might have killed him.
Yeah.
Did Back to the Future make money? I mean, They got some pretty big licenses. And then they got Jurassic Park, which is another big license.
Well, right, you have to figure from Back to the Future and Jurassic Park, they had enough capital to purchase the license to Walking Dead.
Yeah, I'm guessing they had enough investors that, hey, this is a good idea. I mean, they may not have had the money on hand, but they had enough investors that put forward the money to do the Walking Dead license.
Yeah.
Right.
And like Corey said, they got all these licenses during their heydays. Right when all these things were big, that's when they started to work on like games.
Yeah, I'm just reading here. Prior to The Walking Dead, Back to the Future was their most successful franchise. So,
I think there was a case of getting big too fast, getting too many licenses with too few crew, so they had to rush the product, and then competition came out and had good games as well that people were interested in, like Life is Strange as being a prime example.
Right, now Life is Strange is its own discussion now because it was recently revealed that the second game in the franchise is going to be $40. And that seems like a big ask when we've been getting Telltale games for significantly less.
Especially with the first episode being available right now for $5, but then the full season is $40.
Mm-hmm. And a full season is 5 episodes?
I think it's 5 episodes, I believe so. So once again, maybe it's the Telltale thing. Lost Leader, get them hooked for $5 and hope you get them for the other.
Well,
35.
I think they're trying to ride their coattails of the first game being so successful.
Oh, without a doubt.
It's interesting because at $40, it's probably a fair price, but we're just so used to cheaper things that it seems outrageous.
I bought the first Life is Strange on
Definitely.
sale for like $5 or $6. That's a great price for the whole thing.
For the whole thing, right?
And
wasn't the second one $25 originally?
Not sure.
I think so.
And then you could get the deluxe edition that was $30.
Right. So it's $8 an episode, right? And you're probably looking at 2-3 hours, right?
Which I think is still not a bad price.
It sounds like a
that's
good
fair.
deal. People pay $8 for an ACA game; they'll finish in an hour.
Speak for
with no qualms.
yourself.
Certain people will. That rhyme with Righty Rango. I won't tell you who it is.
What?
But Life is Strange also has the benefit of being an original IP. It's owned by the developer.
True.
So they're not paying a licensing cost to use it.
True.
Right. Yeah, it sucks. I think there was like 250 employees, I believe, that are now gone. Well,
Something
there's
like that.
250 employees, I believe, total. And now there's 25 remaining that are basically just trying to finish Walking Dead Season 3, or Chapter 3, I should say.
Well, and keep in mind, too, that Telltale had reduced 25% of its workforce about a year ago. So there was a round of layoffs before this whole cut happened.
Yeah, because they were talking about a restructuring at that time.
Aren't those
I remember
25
that.
people working on something else? Netflix, Minecraft?
I don't think
something
it's
or other?
been clear, but their statement said obligations to our partners, which leads people to believe that it's more about the Netflix Minecraft series, because it mentioned partners as opposed to finishing up what they were working on internally.
Yeah, and they said contracts to their shareholders. So I guess you could look up their stocks and see. Because there's somebody that has investments. I didn't know they were publicly traded, but apparently they are.
Yeah, just bad. Although a little bit of good news with that. Playground Games, the one that does the Forza Horizon series, they're in talks of having a new IP. Who knows what that could
Fable.
be? And they have 100. I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
But they have 177 openings. So, I mean, if Playground has a story-based game like Fable, people at Telltale could fit right on in there. Telltale Games had good stories.
Yeah, and they're talent. I mean, obviously they have some talented programmers there to do the work. So, I mean, they have
Right.
ideas. I mean, a lot of them are probably just like, hey, I mean, a lot of it came down to, well, we got this engine, we know how to do this stuff. Let's just continue to do that. But I still feel there's probably a lot of employees that have pretty original ideas that who knows what they can come up with. I mean,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I think I hope very sincerely that most of them will land on their feet, whether they wind up employed by something like Playground, who's doing kind of a big hiring now, or I know Harmonix posted some job listings right after encouraging
Yeah.
former Telltale employees to apply. I know Ubisoft did like a open luncheon type thing.
That's right. That's what I was trying to think of. Ubisoft.
Right, and there's also the possibility too that some of these developers will just make their own studio and they'll develop their own games that we'll get to enjoy, and they'll restructure in that way. So the hope out of all of this is all of these folks who are obviously very skilled and very talented are going to wind up in good places for them, where they're going to continue to bring us great content in some form or another.
Yeah. Hopefully their talent is spread throughout the gaming industry, and we all benefit in another way by them.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
they brought us some easy gamer score and interesting stories, and Achievement Hunting 101 will remember that.
Without a
Okay, he ruined it.
Oh man. We're having a moment there.
All right, before we continue into our gaming discussion, let's talk about UHH, because I clearly forgot that before. My bad. Who would like to read off the UHH winners?
Yeah, I got it.
Period 4.
I had to bring it back up because I thought we were going
There's
back.
a lot of them.
I'm not going to go over Period 4 winners just because I don't have them all. But I do have probable knockout finalist, obviously pending their game collection being in sync. And by the time this comes out, we'll know. But we have Chin Doctor, Mark B, What the Fug, Tropan, Fresh 3838663836, I don't know. Waka Peel, Kronos, Skeptical Mario, Big L, Redemption Denied, Elroy, OMJ, Madtism, and Shabobble are all likely getting in. They made the top 256, and they're going for glory.
Nice.
Woohoo.
Congrats.
I have a
guys. That's
question
awesome.
for Elle, actually, since he's been pretty quiet, and we all love to give Elle a microphone. So now, how have you reacted to having this week off from UHH, especially because you're coming off of a week where you had gotten 18 achievements and like you really had to push those last 2 weeks to get in because your first 2 weeks were quieter. So how's this non-UHH week, this in-between week, treated you?
It's been nice in a way. I did something crazy. I started the campaign for Red Dead Redemption. I'm only, 8 years too late? But
It's never too late.
It's never too late. Never too late. Yeah, I'm looking forward to what Saturday brings. But in the meantime,
You're ready to put off.
calm
You're ready to
before the
put off
storm.
Red Dead for another 8 years.
I think I'll be eliminated Saturday, and I'll get back to it.
Oh,
But we'll
come
see what
on now.
happens.
With that attitude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone in UHH has a defeatist attitude. You always get those PMs from people. Oh yeah, I'm not going to try hard. I don't think I'm going to do well this week, and then they wind up very competitive.
See, they're doing
have
it
to
wrong
just
because
pretend-
when I said that,
pretend.
I'd actually do that.
Elle's still
Oh.
salty about the guy you got in the first week, 5 weeks later.
I'm not salty.
I'm
about
salty. I didn't get any puddings.
that. He woke up at 4 a.m. to get an achievement. I'm not salty about him at all.
You got no puddings, Corey?
0 puddings. All competition.
Oof.
Good.
That's
Supposed
how it
to push
should
you to
be.
do
No,
better.
that was it was
That is
it
how
was
it should
fun.
be.
But I didn't. I could have went a little harder, but
Because you suck at Spiral Splatter.
that did not help. Correct.
Child's game. Child's.
Yeah, even
That
Elle
is-
can finish that one.
Even Elle can fit. Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not bring up that Elle can finish that.
Even Elle could do it.
I'm still not
Yeah,
sure it wasn't
if you're
his
in
son.
UHH. But if you're in UHH and your opponent's going to be competitive, you got to be competitive or competitive or
More
whatever.
competitive.
Yeah, there we go. That'll work.
Totally.
But yeah. All right, let's get into the gaming segment. Let's talk some games now. This week we're doing a spotlight for Ratata Rafiki
Radalika. Radalika.
Ratatouille games. I don't know, something like that. Ratalaika. We'll go with that. All right. First game, League of Evil. Corey, you were playing that and streaming it Tuesday night, I believe it.
I streamed this, I think, probably Tuesday and Wednesday. I think I did 2 days. Although one day was just an hour of deaths on the same level. It's still fun.
Yeah, only an hour.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Ratalaika Games, they are our new favorite publisher for Achievement Hunters. I think they've produced or published, I don't know, at least 5 games this year that I can think of, probably more. I know there's like 10 to 12 on TA, and I think they've all come out this year. But anyways, League of Evil is a platformer. It's in the vein of Super Meat Boy, if you've ever played that. So you're this little character, and basically you need to get to the end of the level, which happens to be a scientist, I think. And to complete the level, you have to punch the scientist.
Which is gratifying.
It is. It just sucks when you miss him or you forget to punch him, and then your time goes up. So basically, you're timed on each level. Time relates to stars. You can get up to 3 stars per level. And in each level, there's a briefcase to get, which is usually in a location that's not on your way or is harder to get. And there's spikes everywhere and pits and little enemies that shoot guns, and you can destroy them or just skip over them. But your main goal is to get from point A to point B and collect that briefcase along the way and do it fast. As far as the achievements go, you're basically going to play the game, and you get an achievement for beating every level in Chapter 1 and in Chapter 2 and Chapter 3. Along with that, they have chapter-specific achievements for getting all the stars in each one. There are achievements for getting all the briefcases in each one. And then along the way, there's miscellaneous achievements for like getting 100 briefcases, getting 3 stars in 100 missions, completing 100 missions. That will just come if you're playing the game. I've only went through the first 2 chapters because I was adamant on doing everything in a chapter and then moving on. And the very last level in Chapter 2 hung me up with the briefcase. But I finally got it last night. Very satisfying. There were 60 levels in Chapter 1, 30 in Chapter 2. I think there's 30 in Chapter 3.
I think you are correct.
Yeah. And then I pretty much covered every achievement by just doing those things, besides maybe 2 or 3 that are just for defeating enemies. I think the max one's 250, and I've already hit that. So this is not going to be a hard completion for most. I guess if you really suck at like the Super Meat Boy type games, platformers, then it could be a little difficult. But I really enjoy these type of games. I liked Super Meat Boy. I've played a little bit of The Guy and stuff like that. So this is kind of the games I'm used to. So it's been fairly easy, and it's a game that I've died 500 times on one level to get that briefcase.
At least.
I do like how you can get the time and briefcase separate. You don't have to get them in the same run.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Nice.
And I noticed by playing the first world or chapter that I played it all, and because I was streaming it, I didn't want to like focus on going back to a level and doing something over and over on the stream. So I went back and I got the briefcases after I was done, and then I went back and I got the 3 stars. No, I take that back. I got the 3 stars first. But what I noticed is the time limit for 3 stars is very lenient. So most of them you can I would go for briefcases first because you're probably going to get 3 stars anyways. And if you happen to not, then just do it again without the briefcase and you're probably fine.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like I said, this is a game that you might think you get frustrated doing it over and over and over, but the levels are quick and I never got frustrated with it. It was a game that if I messed up, it was always my fault. And I don't know. If it's quick to start, like you die, you restart. You die, you restart. It's very quick to get you back in the action. So there's not a lot of wait time. And I don't know. It didn't frustrate me to die a lot.
No, I concur. I didn't get that frustrated dying on it either. I'll probably eventually finish it. I'm not as good at the game as you are, though.
Yeah.
So
for a Ratalaika game,
tenacious
for
about
a Ratalaika game, it's probably a harder one. I mean, it's been out for what's today, the 27th. It's been out for like 12 days. No, I'm sorry, even less than that. It came out the 19th, so it's been out for Math out of 8 days. This seems weird because they just released another game this week, and they have 2 more upcoming. But only 34 people have completed it out of 101 tracked gamers. Very opposite of their newest release, Jack and Jill, which had 111 completions like the morning it came out that I looked. So not as easy, but it's not going to be a hard completion.
Right. And yeah, I have no idea how you were getting frustrated. When I was watching you just die and die and die, I was getting frustrated.
I mean, it's frustrating
I
not
can
to
just tell there's no way
to
I'd be
get
able to do
it so quickly, but it's one of those games where you just keep putting in the effort, and it will pay off. You'll learn the moves you got to do, when to jump, when to dash, and all that. This game easily gets a 4 out of 5 from me. Good game.
Nice.
I think you touched on what, at least to me, is the most important thing when playing these games, is that the controls are responsive. And that's usually where these games fall apart. If the controls are floaty in any way or not predictable. But that's a great sign that they're fine. So.
Yeah, they're tight. They if you die, it's your fault. It's not because the controls cheated you out of something.
Right. And another game that they've released here is Full Blast. Easy game. I think it was like a half-hour completion or something like that.
Yeah.
Have you guys played that?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah, I have as well. Decent game.
It was when I started playing it, I was like, okay, this is a Rodalaika game. They're known to be easy. I'm not looking at anything. I'm not looking at the list. I'm not looking at the achievements. I'm just going to play it and see how long it takes. And it took me 28 minutes from start to finish, knowing nothing. So it's incredibly quick. And I want to say that it has difficulties, and it starts you on normal, but you can drop it down to easy, and it moves even faster. So it's fun. It's actually not a bad little game, and in some ways, and I think this is something with Jack and Jill as well.
It's too, the achievement list is too short for the game. You don't even get to really touch the game.
Exactly.
When we streamed this game, I streamed it from start to finish. As far as the completion goes, we were done by level 3, and there are 12 levels in the game.
Mm-hmm. And I don't even think you'd go to level 3 if it wasn't for the fact that one achievement required level 3.
Right.
I think you could finish the game before you even make it through level 3.
Yeah, you don't get to see the whole entire game. I mean, I got through level 3 and I deleted the game. Like, okay, done.
And has anyone played Jack and Jill DX yet?
Yes, I have.
I have not yet. I hope to be able to
I
do
played
it this weekend.
It took me a total of 18 minutes to play the whole game.
Wow.
I had over 600 gamer score in the 8 minutes I played it before I had to go to work the other day, and then I finished it when I got home.
That's
But
crazy
I've
fast.
read some people comment on it, though, that they actually were enjoying the game, and they're upset that the achievements don't compel you to play more because we're so geared to play towards 1000G and not to play the game.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not a bad game at all.
What kind of game is it again?
It's kind of a, what are they, those Rayman running games, like an infinite runner?
Oh, okay. Yeah, those
Kind of like
one-button games, yeah.
Yeah. All you do is you jump, bounce off a wall, squish things, avoid spikes. That's through the first world. I didn't play past the first world because you don't need to. And then it has a mini games that you have to unlock for one of the achievements. So you play through the first world, and then you go into you unlock mini games, and you go into the mini games, and you get enough tickets from jumping over obstacles in a mini game, and then you go into the store and you buy something in the store in game, which is different hats for your character, either Jack or Jill, and the game's over. So you don't get to play. You play the first world, which is 20 levels, which take almost no time. And then, I mean, I think I died once because you have to get an achievement for dying.
Oh.
Very easy.
But it's one of those games where I'd like to play it more. I mean, granted, it was on sale this week for $4, so whatever. But I mean, it's still $4. I'd like to get a little bit more out of the game, and I could go play it. But because of, again, how you've said how we're driven, I get my gamer score, I finish the game, I delete it. It would be one of those games where, it's kind of a shame they could, which gets into the point. When they made this game and the achievement list, did they just do, well, let's get all the achievements here and we'll get people to buy it and move on. And
So yeah, I
whatever.
was going to make that point. This publisher in particular, I think they know their audience. They publish short games, and I think that they ensure that the achievement lists are easy because they know that while we're a niche group of gamers, we spend money when the return on investment, i.e., gamer score for our money, is good. And so I always come back to Boss 101. If you have any familiarity with them, you know that they gave out their game. They gave out a lot of copies of the game via social. So I'm looking at it right now. Boss 101 has 399 tracked gamers. That's it. I'm fairly positive I've seen them give away 300 copies on Twitter when the game came out, right?
Wouldn't
The
surprise
game
me.
is $15. I enjoyed Boss 101 for free. I would have paid $10 for it, but probably not 15 at the time. It's a little much. Jack and Jill is $5. Like Mango said, it's on sale for $4 currently for a launch discount. I'm not sure how much longer that has, but it's $1. Even if you say it's $4, Jack and Jill currently has 650 tracked gamers. So
How many completions?
613. So
Fantastic.
and
They know
Well,
their
that-
market.
that's right.
That number's
Yeah.
probably behind too. Keep in mind, TA scans so often, right? I saw someone yesterday who completed Jack and Jill, and they were the 214th gamer. But when you clicked into the game, it still only showed like 150 tracked gamers. So that number is probably still even a little behind. And by the time this episode releases, it's going to have grown even more because word goes around about games like these amongst this community.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I started it that morning, and I think I was in the top 20 that started it, and I was 334th to finish it that afternoon.
Yeah, and as of recording, it came out yesterday. So, even if you take like people game share, that's a thing. So even if you take half that number and you multiply by $4, you're looking at like $700 there that they made in a couple days. Where Boss 101, for example, hasn't even made that, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure it hasn't.
And Rattlika Games has published, more or less 10 easy completions this year. So I think they know who's buying their games, and I think they cater to them.
Elle, you've been quiet. You play any of the Ratatouille games?
Ratatouille. No, actually, ever since I got eliminated from G-Task, I haven't been compelled to play these games just for the score, honestly. But I did dive Full Blast and Super Destronaut. That's one of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes, I got the one aforementioned. Also had an achievement for dying, so I did that one day.
Both of those
Actually, I had that
games
part of
you can
UHH,
beat
actually.
before you beat the game, and I would argue that they're actually decent games. That their achievement list, if were longer, I wouldn't mind.
Well, maybe
Not too
they're-
much longer though.
Yeah, not
like
too
make
much.
the game like an hour and a half instead of 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, Elle, you didn't play Explosion?
Oh, I did play that one, yes.
I forgot about Explosion, yeah.
That one wasn't bad.
No, it was a decent
Which again
game.
brings us to another point of their games. Explosion. You forgot about that one, didn't you? That was an easy game.
Yes, we discussed that on a previous
Mostly
episode. So
easy.
bad. Yeah,
I say mostly as easy as well.
And here's
took some people an hour
There's another one right
instead
there.
of 20 minutes.
Explosion has 3,500 tracked gamers. It's a $5 game.
Wow.
So I guarantee you, Jack and Jill will get up to 3,500 within a couple months, because that's all the Explosion's been out.
Well, and taking a quick look, if you click into 640 gamers on Jack and Jill's page, and it shows you the leaderboard of everyone who's played. That leaderboard's already on the 8th page, and I think each page is 100 gamers. So there's something closer to 800 already who've tracked it,
Right.
and that's only going to go up. But it shows you how. So as tracked on TA, Rattlika Games has 10 games tracked on there, 2 of which are still unreleased. That's 1995. What was it called again?
Yeah,
Back in
It's back in 1995 and Devious Dungeon. So those 2 games are unreleased, and then they have 8 released games on TA. There is one game on that list that is longer than a 4-hour completion, and that's One More Dungeon, which has been completed. It's completable, but that game has only been tracked by 149 people on the site, and that one came out August 1st, so it's been sitting there for a while. So it just shows you, like, there really is there's some kind of numerical evidence here that easy gamer score motivates us to buy games, for sure. We can see it right
Without a
here
doubt.
just in this developer. But
Another game
I will
that we
say,
talked about last
One More
week,
Dungeon.
Tetris Escape.
Yeah, Tetris Escape was another one. One More Dungeon, by the way, significantly better than Polygod, and they're the same type of game.
Yeah.
Polygod is absolute shit, and One More Dungeon is good.
And I think they did recently update One More Dungeon to make it easier. And our buddy Chin Doctor was like one of the first ones to beat it.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
So yeah, it initially came out was a little harder, and it's also tracked at $8, and you can see the difference there.
Yeah, there
What
was,
game was that?
One More Dungeon.
One More
Oh,
Dungeon.
okay.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, it was a matter of there used to be something that you had to complete the whole game in a certain way, and it was dropped down to one level in that way.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah, in a
remember that
certain
now
way.
that you
There's
you've
a
mentioned
certain
that.
I guess they have mutators in the game, and it says complete a level, and I think previously was complete the game.
Yeah. And I know someone started to mention Tetris Escape a little bit earlier, but I think of their games, it's the only one that falls in that category. It's 1 to 2 hours with a guide. It's
Yep.
not as immediately completable as the other ones. The TA listing will show 1 to 2 hours. I did try playing it without a guide, and I probably put about 90 minutes in and got to World 3. And I want to say there are 8 maybe. So if you're playing without a guide, it's going to take you longer than that, but there are great guides out there, I suppose, and so the game is quick if you want to go that route.
Does replay value matter at all anymore to anybody? Does everyone just want to knock out everything quickly and just move on to the next thing?
Only in the AAA scene.
Well, I don't think a lot of achievement hunters replay stuff for fun, at least.
Not even replay, but go through a game the way it's intended to be gone through.
We
I
want.
think that's the problem with indie games. There's usually not a whole lot of meat there that you want to play it multiple times.
I think Ryan touched on this last week, but it's the metagame of getting achievements that's really our prime motivator for a lot of us. So once that part of the game is done, there is no replay value because you can only earn the achievements once. So you move on.
Yeah, there's certainly games that I play regardless of achievements, but there's certainly a lot more games that I play for achievements.
Like-
Michelle, I know you and I finished Brothers, the story, ahead of getting all the achievements. I think every game should have a beat the game achievement. I mean, why wouldn't you want to encourage the people?
Would
that
you
bought your
consider
game
that
to
like
finish
the
game?
platinum trophies that Sony has?
I really wish we got something like that.
Well, I mean, it seems to me that a lot of the games we have issues to with too, or at least used to, is where you had an achievement when you beat the game, or the achievement for getting all the achievement. I mean, how many of those games where the achievement for getting all the achievements is glitched, so then people avoid the games?
My understanding is that has something to do with porting those lists from the PlayStation, because essentially that achievement is the platinum trophy
That's
achievement.
the platinum
but
trophy.
there's no structure for that on the Xbox, so it doesn't know how to process that achievement information, which is probably said very, very, very incorrectly, but is essentially what's going on there with those achievements. But even before there was a platinum trophy designation, there are some games that do have the achievement for getting all other achievements, and most people don't really care for them, because why waste one achievement on kind of doubling up everything I already did? Give me one more achievement to explore something else or try something new. I'm not a big fan of them personally, even if they do work appropriately. I will say one other thing though, and Al, you were mentioning replay value. I have had the greatest time replaying Rayman, but I never would have replayed it if it didn't have achievements. if I didn't have a stack. But I'm having
Right.
so much fun sitting through and playing that. So it is a shame in some ways, because as a kid, I'd get like 2 video games a year. So I would play those to death every possible way I could play them. But that's the great motivators, the achievements.
Without a doubt. All right. Well, any last thoughts on what we've talked about?
Support your game developers.
Yes.
If there's a game you like, buy the game. And
Pre-order
don't
it.
necessarily always wait for the sale. Yeah, no pre-order it. But if there's a game you want, don't be a cheap ass. If you like it, go get it.
Pre-order it the day before it comes out, so you can preload it and get the bonuses.
Well, and especially as many of us are game sharers, remember that you're already getting the game at half price, essentially.
Not saying everybody to go bankrupt buying games, but
No.
like we've lost a lot of developers over the last few years that were actually quality developers, and a lot of it's because people aren't buying their games.
Right. And remember, none of us need to convince you to spend $60 on Red Dead Redemption 2. You're going to do that. So when you're thinking $12 is too expensive for a game you would really enjoy from a company you love and you're going to wait for it for $8, give them that extra $4.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a Happy Meal. So just skip the Happy Meal. Those aren't good for you. Help your developer. Then you might get more games that you like.
You get apple slices. You get apple slices and Happy Meals now.
That you do.
Happy, healthy meals.
Yay!
Yeah, Corey had something he was going to say.
Well,
too.
I was just going to say we have a breaking game alert. Beep, beep, a boop, beep, beep, boop, a beep. You could win a copy of Pizza Titan Ultra. All you have to do is be the first person in our Discord to @Fufu Cuddly Poof with your favorite Pokemon. Has to be an image. So
Yes.
do that, and you will
In
shut the game.
which channel in the Discord?
Any channel just has to be a public one.
Okay. It has to be @Fufu Cuddly Poo.
That's right.
And L, I see you moving. You can't win this.
Actually, I'm going to clarify. This has to be after the episode drops, because nobody's really listening on stream anyways. So if you're hearing this now on your podcast app, it's eligible, and you likely have missed your chance. But go check. Fufu will announce the winner, whoever got to him first.
That I will. And if you haven't caught the stream, when Corey was streaming it last night, that game looks like a ton of fun. We got codes that we want to give away.
Hot take: you're a person in a mech delivering pizzas.
While destroying buildings.
That does happen.
It is crazy. It looks like a lot of fun. I can't wait to try it. But I think that'll about do it for the show. If you guys enjoy this, let us know in chat or in our Discord. And if you would like to contact us to talk or have a topic for the show or a question you'd like to ask us, have your milestones read, be sure to join the Discord. Discord is discord.io/AH101. And you can also follow the show on Twitter @Achievements101. And be sure to follow our Mixer account. Corey and I have been streaming every night, like I've said before. And we do giveaways periodically on stream.
Yeah.
And not to mention, you can watch the show live as it happens.
Yep.
We're trying to be active on Mixer.
And if you are a listener and we don't know that you listen and you want your stuff read, your milestones, don't PM Fufu because he will miss them.
I am very sorry, Sim. Bottom of my heart, I am sorry.
We thank you for listening, though, and that was an awesome milestone last week. Good job.
Yeah, that was great. 900K, that's big. Can't wait to see you get to 1 million. But what's that Mixer link again, Corey?
The Mixer link is mixer.com/AH_101_podcast.
I will attempt to remember that.
It's also in the show notes.
Show notes and in the Discord. And probably on Twitter as well. And lastly, we haven't really asked you guys to do this, but if you enjoyed the show, please like and review us. It really helps us out. It's a easy, free way to boost our numbers, spread the show. And also, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. All right, guys, we'll talk to you next week. See you later.
Bye.
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 If you're craving for pizza, you know who to call. Delivered right to your living room by a robot 10 stories tall. Pizza Titan, ultra fresh and tasty, giant robot 15-minute guarantee. Pizza Titan, ultra pizza for justice. Order right now, it's delicious.
I kissed the fuck and I liked it. Taste of prune juice on my lip.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
A very sequential segment with
X, the hero.
and Elroy MJ.
Microsoft sent Elroy and X the Hero to the Pharaoh to ask for the release of his achievements so that they could achievement hunt with him freely. Initially, the Pharaoh refused, and Elroy demonstrated Microsoft's power by turning X's game list into a serpent and further decreed that 5 plagues, 6 with an honorable mention, would infest the names and or descriptions of Xbox achievements for generations to come. Elroy, love that guy, decreed a list shall be made so that no one will ever forget the top 5 achievements that sound like plagues list. But first, it's time for some pleasantries. I am joined today by an expert in the field of plagues. He knows where to find them. They can be commonly found in either the classroom or in dungeons. He is tied for 322nd in Gamerscore, in Dungeon Crawlers, in America, in Pennsylvania. He will growl at you if you doubt his credentials. He is X the Hero.
I don't know. I felt like I needed to growl after that introduction. 322nd in Dungeon Crawlers in Pennsylvania. That
is some credentials.
That is it's a little embarrassing because Pennsylvania we're full of caves, so I feel like it's in my Pennsylvanian DNA that I should be number 1 in Dungeon Crawlers. You know, our state motto is "All bears will bow," right?
Well, yeah, that's common knowledge. I mean,
that's what we do in Pennsylvania. We go into caves and we wrestle with bears.
Well, now you're talking. Now you're talking there. Maybe I need to go up to Pennsylvania and get my bear wrestling on.
Yeah, you think a possum puts up a challenge? You haven't fought with a bear in a cave. I'm just saying.
Does it hiss at you? 'Cause that is scary, man. And possums. I mean, it's like down the spine.
I don't know if hiss is the right word. More like, growl and rend flesh asunder.
Oh, okay. I can get with that.
Anyway, for this week's segment, I'm just letting you know it's gonna be sick. And for an even iller statistic, let's go back to Elroy, love that guy, who is 10th in simulation games in the great state of Tennessee. Can you name one of those simulation games you've played?
No.
All right, well, here's a joke then.
Okay.
To simulate a doctor's office, since we're talking about plagues, all right? So did you know that statistically, 9 out of 10 injections are in vain?
Right on. Well, I just thought of one. I did a bulb simulator. That was a bulb.
Bulb boy?
Yeah.
Light bulb simulator.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get through that game because I wasn't too bright. But
Haha.
Anyway, X, I am so glad you made your return visit. So you might have noticed we took a week off not too long ago. You can quit all the hate mail. We get it. We can't take weeks off. But the obese child celebration episode just released, so hopefully that made up for it. Speaking of which, thanks for those awesome freaking vocals that were bumpers on the list and intro and outro. I mean, it was amazing.
I mean, what can I say? I'm a man of many talents, but shouting out random nonsense is certainly one of my better ones. Pretty sure that comes with the territory of being a teacher. If you can't keep them on their toes, you're doing something wrong. For what it's worth, some of you might have recognized the title segment that came from the first song I put out called The Bottom. School and G-Task are kind of consuming my life right now, but I promise you there's more window of opportunity on the way. And should I happen to have any fans who listen to me and the segment, the next track is called Hate to Break It to You, and I hope to have it out in about a week or so.
Awesome. Yeah, that G-Task tourney thing. Do you realize that on the airways right now you have like literally 1/24 of the remaining entries in that tournament? I mean, pretty soon they're not going to allow us to fly on the same planes or anything. I mean, it's just going to be too dangerous. What if something happened? I mean, it's getting down to crunch time, y'all. So
Top 46, I think.
yeah, something like that. All right. Well, anyhow, the point is that most of the feedback this week came in a while ago, and it was in response to your debut on the show with the skate park list that we did. So in case you forgot, here is a refresher. Nards, Shredzio, Nards, Unaware Wolves, Balls to the Wall, Nards, and more Nards. So
hold on. Am I thinking of the right one? There were Nards, right?
Yeah, we I think it was like mentioned somewhere in the list. I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was the week, yes.
All right, I think I'm on the right one.
Yeah, Shredzio. I remember that.
Shredzio.
Sure. All right, so our first feedback comes to us from no other than Devil Killer 69, who says, "Great addition having X the Hero on. He should come back."
Hey.
I was playing the Diablo 4 beta with Freemhole and thought it might make a good skate park. That, could make your list maybe because of all the dungeons in it. What do you think?
I just need to comment that your wish has been granted, Devil Killer 69, for here I am, ready to go. And then I need to point out that Devil Killer 69 playing Diablo, that just, it writes itself.
The Diablo 4 beta, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I actually didn't even know that was a thing. I'm going to have to look into that. To answer your question, though, I feel like as a skate park, that would be a little intense, even for the gnarliest of skaters. I mean, I've played Diablo 3. Admittedly, I never played OG Diablo or 2. But there's lots of cliffs and demons and hellfire, brimstone. I feel like that's a little dangerous for most skateboarders who just probably want to live and, land the dopest tricks and all that. So maybe hell is a bit extreme for a skate park.
Yeah. If nothing else, you can stay a while and listen. That was my Deckard there. Oh, so. All right, well, our next question, we're moving along here. We don't want to do 30 minutes of user feedback like we've been known to do, but we had some good questions. So next up, Kingsman. He asked the next question. He said, "I was really enjoying what X was saying about Minecraft, but then the audio cut off before it ended. My phone kept going offline, and I only ended up hearing 99% of what he said each time I tried. Did I miss anything, and why did X hack my phone?"
So first off, glad you liked the segment, and as a Minecraft pro, glad I had something to say to you. But I got to be honest with you. I mean, it's totally your fault. My gamer tag, X the Hero, it's literally like a really shady executable file. You opened it, and see, there you go. You opened it, and you just gave me access to everything on your phone, your entire life, your bank account, your credit card, social security number. And you brought it on yourself just by opening my file. So can't tell you why I'm hacking your phone, but that's totally on you, Kingsman.
There you go. Educational portion. Stay away from the EXE.
Especially the shady ones that end with something positive, like the hero.
That's right. And stay off X while we're at it. Now. All right. Well, our last question comes to us from friend of the show, Bloody Stump 420, who says, "Enjoyed X, but disappointed Elroy and M didn't haze the new guy any. Why didn't you subject him to some sort of initiation ceremony, or at least include an inside joke that many in the community would know about, but that he has no idea what it is? So, X, should I haze you, bro?"
So, L, I don't know what your teacher contract looks like, but mine specifically says that there shall be no hazing of new employees. So when I recorded that segment, I kept my contract nearby, first to ensure that the weather was nice, hazy, and second, to guarantee that as a new employee of the podcast, I would not be hazed. So thank you for not violating my contract.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, thanks again for all the feedback, everyone. Y'all keep it coming. But I suppose we should probably get started. Are we at 20 minutes yet? I don't know. But so, X, what do you got for us?
All right, our honorable mention of the week. Since it is a podcast segment about plagues, I felt it very fitting that we include Plague Inc. Evolved. The game is literally, it's a whole game about this segment, so it was a pretty good shoe-in. Yeah. I felt like that made it too easy, though, which is why it gets stuffed like a booger up an honorable mention. Thought that was kind of a sick joke. Anyway. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the game, Plague Inc., the goal is literally to eradicate humanity. You get to create your own disease, and you just destroy everything. So, if you've ever played a JRPG where you're a group of 8 teenagers out to save the world, this is the polar opposite, because you're just one grumpy scientist whose only goal is to doom the planet to extinction. Perhaps your anger is just festering too much. It's another sick pun. Anyway, the game is actually pretty simple. You start out, you get to pick what kind of plague you'd like. You can be a virus, fungus, bacteria, parasite. You can even be a prion or a zombie virus, but those are a little out there. So once you decide what kind of pathogen you'd like to be, you select random traits and characteristics for your disease. You can alter how it spreads, the symptoms that it has. Does it spread through the air, water, even animals? Does it make you sneeze? Does it make you bleed? Does it make you sleepy? So if you ever fantasize...
possums or...
I
mean, what kind of animals are available? I'm just curious. I've never played this game.
Man, that is the best thing I've heard all day. There is a livestock option.
Oh?
But I assume that's like cows and goats and sheep. Shoop? The plural of sheep should be shoop. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Possums. Have at it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Customizable.
Customizable. So
Plague Inc. yours.
So if you ever dream about destroying life as we know it, this is the game for you. The game actually shipped with like 100 achievements or something insane like that. Most of them are for winning under certain conditions, such as infecting all the possums, if only. There's also a bunch of random ones where you can give your pathogen certain, traits and characteristics and symptoms, and it creates silly combos. Most of them are funny. Some of them are a little more serious. But, for example, if you're using the zombie virus, you make your disease give its... people? What's the word I'm looking for? The people infected by it, they have insomnia and anemia. You've just unlocked the Walking Dead combo. Another good one, the achievement is called Oink Oink, and you create the swine flu. So you spread your virus through livestock and you make the symptoms sneezing, and bam, you've created swine flu within the game. My 2 favorites, though. Are you ready? I don't know if you're ready.
Oh, man.
Second place. It is called Red Rain. So for Red Rain, you need to give your disease 2 symptoms, hemophilia and skin lesions. And basically, the people that are infected with your disease will just be walking around constantly splurting blood out of their body.
Well, I'm more of an oily discharge kind of guy.
Oily discharge. There's probably a symptom for that, but is not a pun, but you'll see that in a second. My personal favorite has to go to the Uh-oh combo. Elroy, would you like to guess what the Uh-oh combo involves? Close enough.
Yeah. No, it doesn't involve that.
No, it doesn't involve grunting TA competition. Sorry.
It doesn't include Ohio either.
Nah, nothing about Ohio. Ohio. Yeah, I hear it. All right. So to unlock the Uh-oh combo, you have to give your plague 2 symptoms. Very easy. You ready? Sneezing symptoms and diarrhea symptoms.
Oh, man.
And it is called Uh-oh.
Yeah, you are right about that.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So just imagine if this was real, okay? You're just sitting in your chair at work. Maybe you're doing, 400 pull-ups or something, and uh-oh! You think you have to sneeze. A sneeze should only require 1 tissue, maybe some hand sanitizer. But now you need gratuitous amounts of TP for my bunghole, a whole body of laundry detergent, and a very, very awkward note apologizing to your janitor why there is diarrhea all over your classroom floor.
Oh, man.
You probably need an awkward note to your boss or principal, too, to explain that you just shat yourself and you need to go home early for the day.
Yeah.
So, for the mere thought of something as horrible as the Uh-oh virus becoming a real plague, Plague Inc. has infected its way into this week's honorable mention.
Oh man, well, a couple things. A couple of students at my school would really like to have the because they are quite proficient in finger painting with that medium in the bathrooms.
God.
Yeah, and then the other thing I thought and when you started, you talking about boogers and everything, and so I was looking up to see. I was like, what is this booger achievement he's talking about? And I thought there was an achievement for that, but sadly, there's not.
Ho-ho. I mean, uh-oh.
All right. Well done. All right. Well, let's see. Number 5. Raining Limbs. Bloody Zombies. It's raining limbs. Hallelujah. It's raining limbs.
Man.
No.
I mean, limbs. Totally limbs.
Yep. And so this is a beat 'em up called Bloody Zombies. You presumably beat up zombies that either become bloody or were bloody when you began to beat them up. It's unclear at what point the bloodiness comes in. But at some point in the game, you get the opportunity for some TNT, which is not to be confused with some TMNT, which is something very different.
Is it potential to be confused with TNA?
TMA.
TNA, and not the wrestling.
Okay. Oh, I got you. This is a family show.
Yeah, I know. That's why I didn't spell it out. We're all good. Keeping it PG.
Uh-oh. No.
Uh-oh.
X, do you like toidles?
I do like toidles, especially the ones that hide in their toidle hut.
Well, all this talk about TMNT. Have you seen the new series? I haven't seen the new series, but apparently it's a series where they have deformed the toidles. They made Donatello look like Frankenstein with his forehead, and they made Raphael look like he should have been on last week's obese children celebration list. I don't know where this is coming from, but apparently they have toys at Sonic. I go to Sonic and get some unsweet tea every day, and I see them up there on the big old board that I order on, and I'm like, what is this? I don't know.
I grew up with the OG Ninja Turtles, so I cannot bring myself to watch the new series. I think it would just ruin my whole childhood.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at those toidles are making me upset. I mean, it's a mess. But since we are an achievement podcast, it should be mentioned, since we're talking about TMNT, that there's a lot of easy achievements on the game TMNT for the 360. Although the current Raphael, if he was on there, he'd probably die of a heart attack from running, and Donatello would have a concussion from hitting his tall forehead on a pipe in the sewer level. But TNT. So you blow up zombies, and once you blow up about 50 of those undead suckers, you get the Raining Limbs achievement. Hallelujah. Worth 15 whole points. But that's not very plague-like. So what would a Raining Limbs plague look like?
Do tell.
Well, my mind immediately went to 2 games. First, Swap Quest. You ever played Swap Quest?
I bought it on sale, have not played it yet. Don't tell L.
All right, well, I'll try to keep the spoilers to a minimum, but you're going to do a lot of swapping in the game. I
never would have guessed.
Yeah, and so basically the game is you running across a map. It's like a side scroller or up and down sometimes, but you're racing across terrain, and you have little path tiles, and you have to make a path across the terrain to get to the other side. And so you swap tiles. You click on one tile to swap it with another one to make a path so that you can stay ahead of things and blah, blah, which I'll get to in a second. But spoiler alert, pro tip. If you just take 2 plus sign tiles, like ones that, like a little plus sign, they have a path going each direction. If you just take 2 of those and just keep alternating them in front of you, or if you need to go up, just put it above you, and just keep walking on one tile to the next. You can swap as many times as you want. They don't crumble or anything. You can basically beat this game very easy. You just keep walking to the other side of where you need to go using these 2 tiles. Sometimes you even get 3, and you can really speed it up. But anyhow, this is not an easygoing walk in the park. Because, well, it is when you use my trick, but if you were to play it outright with, just using regular tiles, there's this funky green fog stuff that is chasing you, and it's either at the bottom of the screen or on the left-hand side of the screen. And It's like this green fog, and occasionally emerging from the fog is, you guessed it, a bunch of decaying-looking limbs flailing at you. Why is it there? I have no idea. Maybe it was in a cutscene I skipped, but there's a weird green fog chasing you with limbs that keep coming out of it.
Sounds a lot like New Jersey.
Well, this looks like a rain cloud with limbs, and with rain clouds,
like I said, sounds a lot like New Jersey.
All right. Well, as you know from Jersey, with rain clouds comes rains, and with funky green fog rain clouds with limbs protruding out of them, it comes raining limbs. There you go. So, I didn't realize you were an expert in this area. I should have approached you earlier on this. Now, secondly, I think of Bard's Quest. You play Bard's Quest?
I have not played that one, but I also don't own it, so spoil away.
All right, well, it's like a brutal 8-bit adventure that tries to kill you in as many ways as that 8-bit adventure anthology we talked about a few weeks ago. Tries to kill you almost that many ways, although there's no werewolf, prostitute girl, or sewer gator or anything like that. It's not as creative, but what there is a... Did I just use is twice in a row?
Yeah, you might have.
Nice.
It's not like you're talking to an English teacher or anything.
How do you feel about people that use the same word twice in a row? I mean, in that case, what there is, right? That
It's grammatically correct. You got to pause.
Okay.
If you really want to get crazy, you could say the effect that Elroy's use of is had upon me had a profound effect.
Oh, have you seen the buffalo thing, man?
Buffalo, buffalo, buffalo.
Oh, man. It's like, what is it, like 8 buffaloes in a row? Man,
I forget.
That blew my mind.
And it's this stupid, perfect, grammatically correct sentence.
Yeah,
Hate it.
Like the buffaloes from Buffalo are buffaloing other buffaloes that buffalo from Buffalo, I think.
With buffalo wings.
Yeah. So Bard's Gold. It has a clock running in the top corner. And so if you take too long in avoiding all the spike traps, the rogue darts, the multitude of enemies that will kill you in one shot, and all the other stuff going on, once that clock hits triple zeros, actually it might be quadruple zeros. I can't remember how many zeros are up on the top of the screen, but I do remember that there were zeros. And when the time became 0, I don't know. But anyway, have you ever seen a 0?
Have I ever seen a 0?
Yeah.
I'm not 100% on that, which I'm glad you got that.
Yeah, well, I remember this time I saw a 0. He was sitting around talking to 8, and he was complimenting his belt. I don't know where that one was going. But when time does run out, fireballs, they start falling from the sky, and of course, guess what? They'll kill you in one shot. It's raining fire. But that's not a plague. Change the fireballs to some random body parts, and now you have a plague. And simultaneously have up the creepiness. Raining limbs. We do need more limb showers and games. I'm talking to you, Rataleka Games, and sometimes you. I think they could probably pump one out in a few days. But if you don't want to have torsos and hands and shoulders falling out of the sky, you could always take a different route for the plague. All right, picture this. A game set in a forest, right? A forest locale. And a plague has been set forth in the form of an unstoppable storm, and you must get to the heart of the forest and reverse this plague before it's too late. Doesn't that sound like a good premise for a game or something?
Or even like a novel. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So the gameplay is primarily a platformer with a lot of evasion built into it, where you're like jumping over possums and trying to avoid, guess what? Raining limbs from the trees. More and more limbs as the storm intensifies. So, I don't know. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that, we can possibly get this done. But in the meantime, Raining Limbs and Bloody Zombies is number 5.
I'm disappointed at the lack of raining nards.
Well, you got twig and berries. I mean, with the with the twigs come those berries now.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
All right. Number 4 comes to us from a relatively new game called Siggy, A Fart for Melusina. Have you played this one, Elroy?
I have not. I'm saving it for crunch time when we get a little closer to when I need some points.
Fair enough. You can beat the whole thing. I think my whole 1,000 gamer score was 1 hour and 3 minutes. I was a little grumpy. I couldn't do it in under an hour.
Oh, I'm so sorry, man.
QQ, right? Woe is me. So anyway, I'm not entirely sure of the game's story because I don't think it actually has one, but it does have, animations and like smiley faces and sad faces. So I think it goes something like this, all right? There's a knight named Siggy, and he falls in love with a beautiful mermaid. I'm assuming that's Melusina, but it doesn't...
Where did they meet?
Well, we'll get there.
I'm sorry.
So he just randomly decides that I'm going to go talk to this mermaid. So he goes and he walks to the shore where she waits, and I assume that's how they met, is he just saw her waiting at the shore. So he finally gets the courage to go presumably profess love or ask her on a mermaid date or something. But what do you think happens next, given the title of the game?
Oh, no. Did he have an uh-oh moment?
He did, in fact. I'm so glad you said that. He had an uh-oh moment. He farts, potentially sharts right in front of her, and she is so disgusted that she just leaps into the ocean, and he's very sad and goes on this big quest to save her. But
save her from what? From the shart?
From his own shart. So,
the shart attack?
Why did Siggy fart in the first place? These are the questions that need to be asked, right?
Oh, yeah. It's probably his diet.
He probably is. He probably eats more than 60 to 80 carbs a day.
I would say so. Those things are killer on your gut, folks.
So he'd just eaten at a food cart named Weenies, who serves, presumably, it doesn't actually clarify what Weenies serves, but we can assume it serves hot dogs, and those buns, those are about 35 carbs each, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah. Man, you got to stay away from those buns, yep.
Whew. Don't even get me started on the ketchup on it. 8 carbs a tablespoon or something absurd.
Oh, man, people don't realize how much, they put, freaking sugar in the ketchup and, barbecue sauce. Oh, man. That's the hidden one, man. A lot of people don't realize that stuff. Mustard is the safe route to go.
Yep, mustard, and you got to watch out relish, too. They always put sugar and relish for some stupid reason.
Man, that's insane. I don't think they don't do that to salsa, right?
No, salsa's pretty good. Some of them have sugar in it.
I've never seen really much sugar in salsa, but I buy the organic salsa crap, so, I'm not... My salsa game's not quite on par with the general populace, yeah.
As a former fat guy who lost 80 pounds by stopping eating carbs, there's sugar in everything, folks. There's your educational segment. Sugar is everywhere. Anyway, Siggy farts in front of the mermaid, probably because he ate too many hot dogs, scares her off, so he goes on this crazy adventure where he battles enemies and bosses, and it doesn't even really make sense. All he wants to do is, profess his love to the mermaid, right? So these bosses are... there's no rhyme or reason to why they exist. The first boss is a blind troll. The second boss is a goblin driving a train. The third boss is a giant French fry container with legs that throws French fries at you. You ever seen Aqua Teen Hunger Force? It's basically Frylock is the third boss. And the final boss, you ready?
Sure.
The final boss is literally Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan actually makes appearances in a couple of ACA games. I think he's the personification of a buff guy of what these Japanese companies think that if it's a guy that's supposed to be strong in a game and he's supposed to be American, he looks like Hulk Hogan. I don't know. I've seen a lot of Hulk Hogans. Yeah. I
think you're onto something, actually. Hulkamania, brother. So anyway, I don't know why the final boss is Hulk Hogan, but it's pretty much Hulk Hogan with everything except the name. But we'll never know. Anyway, you defeat Hulk Hogan by throwing swords at his butt. Of course, right? How else would you kill Hulk Hogan? He tries to leg drop you or something, and then you just run under him, and then while he's recovering, you chuck swords at his butt. Anyway, you defeat Hulkamania. The mermaid is rescued, but she jumps back into the ocean, and you'd think Siggy would be very upset since he just went on this whole, 1 hour and 3 minute quest to save her. But he's not upset at all. What does he do? He goes back to Weenies for more Weenies. That's the game.
Okay.
That's it. you're not missing much, except 1,000 gamer score in an hour and 3 minutes.
Wow.
So how does the plague tie in?
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah.
The first boss is a blind troll. And for beating this blind troll, you unlock an achievement called Too Blind to See. So that's where the inspiration for the plague comes in. Just figure the game's a platformer with some enemies, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if Siggy was blind. Your TV, it would just be a black screen. How much more difficult would the game be? I assume it would go from like a 1 hour and 3 minute completion to several thousand? I don't know.
Nice.
I assume it's nearly impossible, but I do say nearly because I'm always impressed by the people that speedrun like Super Mario World blindfolded in 4 minutes.
Oh man, I had to get the Turbo Tunnel Battletoads achievement, and some jerk was on he like blindfolded and went through that thing, and I would sit there and I fiddle with that for hours and hours, and this dude's sitting there doing it blindfolded. Made me so mad, man.
Yeah, I abandoned all hope on
that
one.
guy needs to get over himself. That's what's wrong.
He should probably listen to your segment from last week.
So if it's blind, like, or is the whole game like running around kind of like you follow the stench kind of a thing? Is there a smell element that is introduced into this game since you can't see where you're going and you're like, something smells so odd over here?
Well, of course, the only thing that you smell in the game is weenies, of course, and out of context, that sounds very naughty. But trust me, we're smelling hot dogs, which doesn't even sound any better. So, yeah, you follow the scent trail, and it kind of goes up and down. But again, it's just a black screen with maybe this green slime, maybe with limbs poking out of it, comes in, and yeah, that would be the game if you're too blind to see. It would just be a black screen with a green stench cloud.
Right on.
So, plagues, they affect real life.
Yeah. So does blindness.
So does blindness. So if there's this plague that just came and affected everyone, like, what would happen? Do you enjoy being able to see, I assume, right?
It's one of those things I do enjoy, yeah.
Okay, I mean, I assume most sighted people enjoy it and probably take it for granted. So we all wake up tomorrow and the entire population is blind. What do we do? How does society function? The world around us would cease to exist. So by no means am I saying that it's impossible to live a normal, fulfilling life with blindness, because people do it all the time. But if everybody went blind all at once, how do you even begin to learn to cope with your new disability? You're a computer teacher, right?
Yeah.
So
well, I teach students, but yeah.
No, you teach computers. They're interchangeable. Don't you get it? So,
indeed.
Your classes of 30, presumably. I have classes of 30. Try teaching 30 blind students how to use a computer. How do you even do that?
Well, right now I'm trying to teach Java to about 15 of them that hardly ever turned on a computer. It's probably about the same level of frustration.
All right. I challenge you to go in tomorrow and try and do that blindfolded.
Probably about have the same results.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, I have to imagine that if everybody... I probably would, I'm thinking about it. I have to imagine if everybody went blind, though, like, the world would just, like, cease to exist. Like, we probably couldn't even make it out of our houses. I could probably make it to the kitchen, and then I'd trip into the table and probably fall over and hurt myself. But certainly, with my 45-minute commute, I'd never make it to work. Like, if I did, how would I even do my work? Like, how do we get food? Like, the entire ocean, you couldn't... That's seafood. See what I did there? Most importantly, by far most importantly, how on earth, if I was blind, would I make it to Starbucks to feed my pumpkin spice everything obsession?
Oh Lord, you're one of those, eh?
Pumpkin everything all the time in my belly. I want to turn into a pumpkin for 3 months of the year. That's my life goal. October, November, December, I will be a pumpkin.
Wow.
Anyway,
that's quite the goal.
Yeah, very, very, setting the bar very high, be a pumpkin. So anyway, too blind to see. That's, not a plague that I would ever want to happen to me. And that rhymed.
All right, well, good luck with your pumpkin quest, Mr. Pumpkin.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Adventure. So, number 3. Locust Forever from Bros of War 3. What is any good achievement plague segment, because there's so many, without some freaking locusts. So this gem of an achievement comes from Bros of War 3 and is worth 15 gamer score for winning a versus multiplayer match as a team of 5 savage marauders in any mode. Now, X, it's the darndest thing. You ready for this?
Bring it on.
It appears both you and I have played this game, but not gotten this achievement. And you would think if anybody had won it, it would be a social multiplayer online party boosting superstar like yourself or myself.
Clearly, because that's what we do is we boost
I
and
mean,
we get
we're
in
just
parties
like,
all the time.
yeah, I mean, it's just like, how is this? I don't even know understand it. I can't even begin to understand it. So you would have thought that we would have gotten this a long time ago, but oddly enough, reclusive gamers such as Big L, Matriarch, Facial Lafleur, and Professor Pluto all have it.
All those
So weird.
antisocial people who never play.
Yeah.
What's
yeah,
up with that?
I don't know. So there you have it. Now, X, we just established you like Toidles. Do you like
Toidles.
locusts? You like locusts?
Do you mean like the bugs in real life or Gears of War?
You choose.
I don't like them in Gears of War because, they try and kill us. And I don't really mind the ones in real life because they just make this soothing drone noise.
Oh, okay. Well, in the Bros of War universe, the locusts are a race of creatures. We gotta get over your locust racism. That they can they can shoot guns very well, but they can't shoot guns very well. But they have somehow, some way, somewhat invaded successfully, I guess. But I kind of did some more research in this, and I guess they are some kind of reptilian humanoids that used to live underground, according to the interwebs. So it seems like they would be more aptly named lizards or, something else, given that insects are in no shape or form reptiles. Locusts, but they're reptilian? I don't know. But it does make me think back to one of the one of the funniest things, the amazing and talented Kelly. Again, how do you feel again about using 2 words in a row like that? It's,
that's quite the conundrum, given that is her name.
I know. I feel like if you were around, you would just resent her because of it. But anyway, the amazing and talented Kelly asked me once while I was playing Goat Simulator. She asked, "What's the difference between a goat and a sheep?" And I thought, you got to be kidding me. That is a bad question. But the answer is they are 2 different things. Kind of like the difference between an insect and a reptile. That's the difference.
That was a nice roundabout. I was wondering how you were going to pull that together.
Yes. So I'm sorry, X. It just bugs me when people don't know their animals. You know me. All I want to do is talk achievements. But
that's made better because the iguana is a lizard. It's all relevant.
It is. Yeah. So, plagues. Yeah. Locust forever is the perfect plague achievement. It implies that the current state of affairs, being freaking locusts everywhere, is not in any way a temporary state. These locusts are here to stay. How long will it be around? You better get used to them. They will be around forever. You see, this plague is not like a normal locust plague. This is a locust plague on the same beefroids that all the Bros of War are on. Those are some artificial hashtag gains.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Nothing artificial.
You can't do that with 400 pull-ups. That's like 4,000 pull-ups.
Exactly.
And then you'll be as buff as Marcus.
Yes. I agree completely. Only did 500 yesterday.
Shame.
Now, I know. I ran out of time. Nothing artificial about this super locust forever plague, however. So, what would the locust forever plague look like anyhow? It wouldn't look like a bunch of fake insect reptile guys shooting guns at you, very poorly might I add. It would be more reminiscent of, ironically enough, a level in Bros of War, the original incarnation. That's what they should have called it. But the level is called Outpost and is located in Act 2, Chapter 2, where you take a stroll around town en route to get some gassed up rig. Unfortunately, this town has been struck by the Locust Forever plague. Every time you get out of the light, the locusts come in and practically insta-kill you. It's not instant, but it's pretty dang close. If the Bros of War didn't have all that bull testosterone flowing through them, it might be instant, but it's not. But as it stands, it is a terrible reminder of what locusts are capable of. Once their natural food source has been depleted, they turn to human flesh. I have heard talk that maybe those weren't locusts that attack you in the darkness, but rather that Grues, yes, I said it, those are not locusts, those are Grues that attack you in the dark.
I don't know what a Gru is.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. That was my backup music. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, you already told me what you're thinking. But if you are a millennial snowflake, you're thinking about eating avocado toast with Tom. This. And you're also thinking, what the hell is a Gru?
Whoops.
So, yeah. See, I didn't know that. If you are old school and have one foot in the grave such as myself, you appreciate the Zork reference. It was an old game called Zork. But you don't think the Locust attack in Bros of War was in fact a Gru attack. Now, I am breaking it to you now. If your child's imagination envisioned a Gru as some kind of feigned possum-looking thing, you're wrong. They were locusts. Zork was under a Locust Forever plague, and Grus were the names assigned to the dens or hives of these monstrosities. Don't be angry with yourself. As a child, you probably also thought that dinosaurs looked like something other than feathered birds that made goose noises also. But anyhow, number 3, Locust Forever.
I just want you to know that my childhood was ruined upon the revelation that dinosaurs did not look like Jurassic Park. Like, straight up, it was all downhill from there.
Yeah. I mean, they perpetuate that lie.
All right.
Stay woke.
Kind of ironic that you mentioned Goat Simulator, because our number 2 actually comes to us from Goat Simulator. Depending on who you ask, Goat Simulator is a plague in and of itself, but I happen to be a fan of the game. Oh God, you have to play it on mute though.
My wife, man, she gets on me whenever I play it, and it gets in her head, and she gets angry the next morning when it's still around. Yeah.
Can we just sidebar and talk about the Flappy Goat achievement for maybe a minute?
Oh God, that plague, yeah.
That's where I was going with this. Man, Flappy Goat. What an easy 970 out of 1,000 gamer score. And then the 30 points from hell right there.
Oh, man. Yeah. I hope they don't appear on my...
Oh, you don't have that one?
No, I don't have it. I said, yeah, to hell with that.
I spent, I don't even think I'm exaggerating, maybe like 10 hours trying to get it on Xbox One. Honestly, not exaggerating. One achievement, Flappy Goat, 10 hours. And then the 360 stack, I got it on like my 4th attempt. Like, so mad. Anyway, end rant. Good
there you
to go. I kind of like Goat Simulator, but it's hard not to laugh. It's so ridiculous. If you are unfamiliar with the game, do not assume that it is actually a game where you simulate a goat. What would that even be? Sitting in a field all day, grazing? Maybe spitting once in a while, hoofing some fences?
Well, I mean, some people pay money to do a farming simulator where they could just go work, for my Uncle Kenny or my Uncle Gary, but whatever.
I don't get that trend either. Like, that was cool when Farming Simulator came out. Then there was, like, Pure Farmer and Real Farm and Farm Tycoon. Like, how many farm games do we need?
You preach it. You are on fire tonight.
For what it's worth, Goat Simulator does have an achievement called Goat Sim Sim, and you actually do unlock it by grazing in a goat pen for, I think, 3 minutes. You just leave the controller, and then you get Goat Sim Sim. But the rest of it, it's hard to describe. You're basically this like cool goat, and you just go around and you wreck everything, just because you can.
Nope.
Like most of the achievements are even tied to you just blowing things up and causing mayhem and destruction and misery and suffering. Because that's what goats do, I guess. I've never hung out with a goat, so maybe that is what goats do. But
Well, they have many goats up there in your way?
well, what you've heard about Pennsylvania is that we have lots of bears in caves and we wrestle with them. What else you might have heard about Pennsylvania is that we're all Amish here, right?
Yeah, I've heard that.
All right, so it's not entirely true. But the whole, middle 90% of the state is pretty much super old school redneck territory. I meant Amish territory. So yeah, there are probably more goats in Pennsylvania than most states. I think that would be a fair assumption, but I don't have any numbers or data to prove that.
Oh, well, I see. I got some numbers right here. I'm glad you mentioned that goats per state. So I have a list of the top 10 states for number of goats.
Of course you do.
So, well, I won't bore you too much, but Alabama's number 10, Florida number 9, Missouri, Kentucky, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Georgia. Then you get a little interesting in the top 3. You got number 3, California.
Okay,
And,
it's a big state.
Well, they need a lot of goats for Thomas to do his goat yoga and all that stuff while eating avocado toast. But so there's a big demand for goats out there, I would assume. And then number 2, Tennessee, with 4.7% of the total. And then number 1, by a very, very, very large margin, with 43.6% of the total.
Wow.
Texas.
Huh.
Yeah, who knew?
So Pennsylvania, we're not even top 10.
No.
I'm a little disappointed.
I think that would be classified as the educational portion of the show.
I do believe so.
Okay.
If you want to look up bear wrestlers per state, we'll be number 1.
All right.
So what is our plague from Goat Simulator? None other than Excaligoat. What is Excaligoat, you might ask? The achievement, it's actually pretty simple. All you have to do, pull the sword from the stone. But you're probably asking yourself, Self, how does a goat do that? You're a goat. You don't have fingers. You have hooves. So how do you pull the sword from the stone? You use your tongue, of course. How else would you? Have I mentioned that the goat that you play as has like a 20-foot tongue? So you lick this sword in the stone, and then you basically run around, the whole town with your 20-foot tongue, and eventually the sword comes out, and then you look like an idiot because you're a goat with a 20-foot tongue with a giant sword at the end. But whatever. You unlock your Excaligoat achievement. I think that's like a weird 45-pointer or something like that. And you get a cool ability. They're called mutators in the game. So this mutator basically turns you into the Dragonborn from Skyrim, and you can basically Fus Ro Da anytime you want, which just wrecks everything, because that's what goats do, right? So these poor townsfolk, they're just trying to live a normal life, coexisting with these lovely goats, and then, BAM! Fus Ro Da! Like, they're just knocked into the next town, like, what the heck, was that a goat? And they yell that too, like, oh man, there's a goat over there. So, anyway, if this plague's called Excaligoat, what does it do? Short version, all goats, everywhere, poor Texas, turn homicidal. That said, in the game, wouldn't really be much different. There are other goats in the game, but they're mostly docile. But the goat that you are does enough damage to represent all goats. So maybe you just have like some new party members in your crew or something, and you could help wreck everything, as that is the goat way. So, nothing too different in the game. Real life, though. Elroy, we've just established Tennessee has a lot of goats, right?
Oh, indeed, we have.
All right. So how would you wonderful southern gentlemen folks, how would you react if all the goats just decided to go all bender on you and kill all humans?
Well, it's kind of in their name. I mean, if you look at the name goat, G-O-A-T, it would be, greatest outbreak of all time. I mean.
Wow. Did he just make that up?
Yeah, I think I did. I was just thinking, goat. You know, I'm a kind of sports guy. You know, greatest of all time, and I was thinking, wow, outbreak. Yeah, man, it just came together for me.
That's actually really impressive. I'm speechless here. I had a pun, but yours is better. So like, yeah, I'm just gonna let that go. So anyway, certainly a doomsday scenario. Yeah, like goats just kill all humans. All humans are dead. Bad. So I was trying to think, why are these goats so mad? What is their catalyst? Like, why are they killing all humans? What has spurred them to do so? And here's what I came up with.
Sure.
All goats, they are enraged at being second place to cows in the human milk consumption competition.
That's utterly disastrous.
Oh, that was, man, you're on a roll tonight. We all know goat milk is superior. I know as a not carb eater, you probably don't drink much milk, but you probably eat some cheese. Would be a fair guess, I'd assume.
Yeah.
All right, goat cheese is way better than cow cheese. You heard it from me, folks. Actually, I'm not even a good source because Pennsylvania's not the top 10. But if Elroy says it, you know that's the truth.
Yeah, I do like me some goat cheese, and that stuff's the truth, man.
Mm-hmm. So these goats, they're on this quest to slaughter all humans who have done them wrong by putting them in second place. How would this go down? I assume you're asking yourself, what would happen if the goats tried to kill us? Well,
I like how you asked yourself there. That was awesome.
Well, of course you have to.
If you're going to ask yourself, you have to say self. I mean,
there's no other way. I assume the goats are going to start off subtle. You know, maybe they'll kick or headbutt you once in a while. But by the end, I'm just skipping the whole middle part here. By the end, I can only imagine that the goats will, be sitting in their goat thrones and we'll be bowing down to them as our almighty goat overlords. They'll have us in
there's
these...
isn't that actually in the game where you go to that inside that tower and...
Yep, there is actually a scene. It's oddly like satanic and demonic, and
it is indeed.
They have the humans enslaved. It's a dark envision of our future. Envisioning. That's it. A dark envisioning of our future. So we'll be in all these horrible machines and contraptions, designed to power their tools and do whatever it is goats need tools for. If this sounds a little tame, like, all right, goats enslaving the humans, nothing important there. So it's not just the disease just hasn't made them homicidal. So not only is their bloodlust very high, but they're super intelligent too. Because why not? You've seen Planet of the Apes? Any of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's several to choose from. I saw the one that had Michael Jackson in it. I don't know. It was like some female ape that was just, I don't know. It was weird. I didn't like that one.
Was she moonwalking?
she was. I just realized how incredibly racist that sounded. But there was actually a character in that movie that looked like Michael Jackson. I don't know. It was like a real pale looking. I don't know. It was creepy. By the way, Michael Jackson's dead.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
I haven't seen any of the old ones, so I actually genuinely thought Michael Jackson was in one of the older Planet of the Apes movies. So
I'll post it in Discord. You'll see what I'm talking about.
All right, I'm looking forward to that one. So anyway, these goats, they're super intelligent. It's like Planet of the Apes, but it's way worse with goats because goats have hooves. What can apes do? They can just smack you around. But you ever been kicked by a goat? I assume you have, living in Tennessee.
It's a daily occurrence around here.
Yeah,
we just don't talk about it.
It's not as intense as getting your flesh rent asunder by a bear in Pennsylvania, but you wouldn't want to be hoofed by a goat, or probably spit on by a goat. Maybe they'll enlist their llama and alpaca cousins for extra, saliva cannons or something. Essentially, though, humanity, with this goat plague, we would be doomed to a fate of planting grass in giant fields. And for that grim, bleak future, Excaligoat earns the number 2 spot this week.
Right on. Well, do you need a water break or anything? Are we overnight?
maybe water for the grass to plant for my goat overlords.
Right. Oh man, there you go. Well, it sounds like something might happen on Castaway Paradise, but all right, I better wrap this up. People are going to start thinking we're going to just keep on talking here.
Number 1. We're almost
Number
done.
1. All right. Wild Rumpus.
Wild Rumpus.
From Where the Wild Things Are. So, this last plague, it's a doozy. So, much like a Gru, It might need a little imagination to fully understand the calamity that is a wild rumpus. So the being defines a rumpus as a noisy disturbance, a commotion. So some common synonyms of a rumpus are a furor, a kerfuffle, a hullabaloo, or even a fracas. So anyone who's been part of a brouhaha, you know that a rumpus is not to be taken lightly. The wild rumpus plague, as it was originally defined in the game Where the Wild Things Are, is obtained by defeating 15 enemies in a row in melee without being hit. It's easy enough to obtain on the stage where there's a bunch of wasps flying around and you just hit them out of the air. So let it be known that these are those stupid little yellow wasps. Psst, yellow wasps. Child's play. Literally, because you're like a child. So listen here, boy. If you want a real achievement, defeat 15 big-ass red wasps in a row without incurring some damage. I think I'm about up to 8 right now. I had a close call the other day, but fortunately I was wearing a hat when it attacked, so it didn't actually penetrate the hat. My helmet, protected me from the attack. But I think my streak is technically still alive, but the counter may have reset. Sometimes the Xbox counter is kind of weird, and so wasps hit you in the hat. I don't know. But anyway, it's worth 10 gamer score, and it has an impressive ratio of 1.00. Yep. So you might save it for like that G-Task tourney thingy that we're in case you haven't got it yet, X.
I have not played this game actually.
Yeah, but if you're ever in need of 10 TA, this one's ripe for the taking. So we know about the wild rumpus plague, but perhaps the bigger plague in this game is all the damn collectibles. I swear everyone is missing something. You got to go find 25 skulls, go find 95 stars. Okay, now go find 25 seeds, collect 25 owl eggs, collect all geodes, collect all the vuvuzelas, collect 25 honeycombs, collect some toidles. X, you still like toidles?
I do still like toidles.
Okay, just checking in. Okay, now go back and collect all of everything. It's not where the wild things are. It's where the Sam hell are all the things. That's what it should have been called. But so thank you, Wild Rumpus Plague, for being at least one achievement that can be earned without having to explore the whole Forsaken game looking for crap laying around on the ground and floating in the air. So as to what exactly the Wild Rumpus Plague entails in normalish gameplay, again, a lot of that really depends on you to fill in the blank. It could be anything. That's what is so terrifying about it. You make one loud noise and the wild rumpus will get you. So perhaps you run into the wild rumpus when you're playing State of Decay, for example. You 1 or 2. You're going through all those containers, right? We're all achievement hunters. We don't have time to let the search icon go all the way around real slow like. So we keep holding down the little trigger and little bursts to try to like cheat it a little bit and kind of speed it up. And then you think you're getting away with it. Then suddenly, the loud crash. Yes, you vision it there. And then the beckoning call of the dreaded wild rumpus.
I assume that's what it sounds like.
Yeah. So in this game, dead people, they converge and like on the spot, and they're like all over you like a duck on a June bug, and it's just a bad scene. Now, a similar wild rumpus, it plays out in Deadlight, but for me, those are more zombie outbreaks than wild rumpus plagues. For me, I envision a wild rumpus outbreak and no other than castles. Have you played Castles?
I have. I actually have like a weirdly high ratio on it for beating the 2nd level.
Yeah. Well, in this game, a wild rumpus has broken loose out in the country. And, like the countryside of like what appears to be an otherwise pleasant community, other than this wild rumpus breaking out. But out in the country, in a surprisingly level field, I don't know where, it just happened to be on this level field, these rogue blocks, they just drop out of the sky into one of 25, ordained spots on the ground. Now, it's unclear whether the wild rumpus has been contained to that small geographic area or if that's ground zero of the outbreak. Is it in danger of rapidly spreading? What is causing this wild rumpus? These are all questions we don't know. I'm telling you, the wild rumpus is terrifying. So little is known.
That's what makes it so scary.
It is. But all I do know is that it can only be stopped by making certain blocks and matching things, and then once you get it stopped, it starts right back up again. It seems futile to stop them. The wild rumpus cannot be stopped.
Could you perhaps say, resistance is futile?
Indeed. So, you will be assimilated. Now, I think since it's just futile to stop it, if I ran the community that is where this is taking place, I wouldn't put my citizens at risk by having them stand within the wild rumpus range, moving blocks around all willy-dilly, getting crushed more often than not. The wild rumpus death toll is needlessly soaring. A better way to deal with this outbreak is needed. And I am a solutions man. And I got you, rural community of castles. What you need is a logistical containment strategy. First, you block off civilians from the wild rumpus. You cannot risk any more of them getting smashed under the blocks of the wild rumpus. Thus, block off the area to the public. Secondly, you get some heavy machinery to deal with the blocks. I envision a front-loading dozer to scoop underneath the blocks and get some dump trucks to load the wild rumpus blocks into. On a revolving schedule, one truck dumps them into the ocean, and you forget they ever existed while the other one's being loaded. Now, another option is to get some skilled masonry labor together and take the blocks into town and, build some structures out of them, perhaps eliminate the homeless community. One must be careful, however, for it is unknown whether the wild rumpus blocks will disappear if aligned in all three, in three in a row, once they're off that grid on the ground.
Of course, major plot twist.
Yeah, it could be that they do. It could be that they don't. Now, if it is the case that they do, perhaps you don't need these masonry laborers after all. You could get some unskilled cheap labor, and they could hire them and then take them out, the dump trucks out, and dump the blocks into the sorting ground where they sort the blocks into a couple of piles, which, if done correctly, the bins would disappear as they go. Yeah, that's how I would deal with a wild rumpus. Now, sidebar, mule, which I hear some incredible person has the world record on, it has wumpuses in it. Wumpuses, not rumpuses.
Not to be confused.
Yes, they are located on the outskirts of town. And so I assume they are wild as well. So the wild wumpus is not a wild rumpus outbreak.
Easy to mistake the two.
Indeed. So the people in the mule community, they probably think they have a wild rumpus outbreak. But you have no wild rumpus outbreak. That's a wild rumpus. Wumpus, not a rumpus. And that is why a wild rumpus is number 1 on our list of top 5 achievements that sound like plagues.
Top 5! No, I can't do that quietly. If only.
All right.
Well,
so
there you have it. Top 5 achievements make pretty rad plagues. I should have... I'm going to start that over. Top 5 achievements that would make pretty sick plagues. I think that was better the second time. As always, let us know what you think of the segment through some feedback. Feel free to reach out to myself or Elroy, Discord, TA, Xbox. Look up our gamer tags. One more shameless plug. Window of Opportunity. Look me up. YouTube, Facebook, SoundCloud. Window of Opportunity. Thanks for listening, everybody.
We have plagued you enough already. So let the 2-hour episode and the countdown to our next list begin.
5, 4, 3. Have you ever escaped from prison? That is the objective of Waka Pale's Quickie of the Week, The Escapists, which was Games with Gold in October of 2016. The Escapists is a low-fidelity prison break game, which has a steep learning curve and can be very unforgiving when making a mistake. Thankfully, you can easily load a previous save when you screw up. It can take a while before you get a hang of it, but once you do, it's really fun coming up with ways to escape the game's different prisons. If you decide to rob yourself of devising a genius escape plan yourself, the overinflated achievement ratios of the Escapists makes it very easy to score quick TA and to a lesser extent gamer score with a guide. The best score can be found in the title's DLC prisons. While there are more than 3 DLC prisons available, only 3 of them have achievements attached to them, so be careful when buying the DLC. Each DLC prison should take around 2 to 3 hours to complete, and the Escape Team DLC in particular is extra interesting because it for some reason have 500 gamer score worth more than 1200 TA, which is as much gamer score and just slightly less TA as the other 2 DLC prisons combined. While the Escape Team DLC will net you around 500 TA an hour, the other 2 DLC prisons, Santa's Sweatshop and Duct Tapes Are Forever, will likely be around 250 TA an hour. The main game has 1000 game score worth more than 3000 TA and is not as difficult as the ratio suggests, but it will probably take around 20 hours to complete. My recipe of a successful jailbreak involved kindness to other inmates, plenty of showers, soap, and socks to get rough with the guards.